Switzerland, the polished cloak of corruption, a Machiavellian dissection. In the theater of global finance and diplomacy, Switzerland parades as a paragon of neutrality, discretion, and order. Its snow-capped peaks and pristine lakes serve as a backdrop to a myth carefully cultivated, a land immune to chaos, corruption, and the vulgarities of politics. But behind this serene facade lies a kingdom of quiet power, whose dominion is not secured by swords or votes, but by vaults and secrets. Switzerland, to the discerning Machiavellian eye, is not the neutral saint of Europe. It is the untouchable prince of corruption, the master of the invisible empire. Its banking system is a fortress of silence, designed not merely to protect wealth, but to conceal its origins. In a world where transparency is demanded of the many but practiced by the few, the Swiss have perfected the art of institutionalized theft in the name of discretion. Swiss bankers do not simply guard fortunes. They are the curators of the world's darkest secrets, holding in their ledgers the sins of warlords, oligarchs, despots, and democratically elected thieves alike. They understand a truth more profound than any diplomat dares to admit. Knowledge is power, and the knowledge of who owns what, where, and how it was stolen is a weapon far deadlier than any arsenal. This alone makes them untouchable. They cannot be brought to justice, for they hold the ledgers that could unravel entire regimes. Even within its own borders, Switzerland's justice system reflects a deeply entrenched elitism. A foreigner entering a Swiss courtroom may as well be a peasant challenging a noble. The outcome is predetermined. The myth of rule of law is preserved for appearance's sake, but in practice, the scales of justice are calibrated in favor of the native-born. Despite its carefully choreographed image of impartiality, Switzerland behaves like a gilded banana republic, where justice is not blind. It simply averts its gaze. Its laundering prowess is unrivaled. No nation scrubs blood money more efficiently. As Swiss MP Jean Ziegler courageously pointed out in his book La Suisse Lave plus Blanc, Switzerland washes whiter. The country has built an economy not just on chocolate, watches, and alpine tourism, but on a clandestine service economy designed to hide and sanitize the profits of global crime and corruption. And history has already judged it once. During World War II, Switzerland served as the discreet vault for Nazi gold, much of it looted from occupied nations and extracted from the victims of the Holocaust. The Swiss National Bank bought this gold with full awareness of its origin, maintaining neutrality while silently fueling the Nazi war machine. Worse still, Swiss banks, especially UBS, were implicated in one of the most disgraceful financial cover-ups of the 20th century. After the war, thousands of Holocaust survivors and their descendants sought access to dormant accounts left behind by murdered relatives. They were met not with sympathy, but with stalling, denial, and bureaucratic obstruction. It was only decades later, when a courageous UBS employee blew the whistle, that the public learned how Swiss banks knowingly withheld these assets, profiting from the stolen wealth of the Jews exterminated by the Nazis. The truth was undeniable. Switzerland was not merely a passive vault, it was an active accomplice. And the pattern continues to this day. Swiss bankers, armed with layers of plausible deniability, still accept billions of dollars from drug cartels, arms traffickers, kleptocrats, and corrupt heads of state. Funds flow in from collapsed African treasuries, Latin American drug empires, and Eastern oligarchies, all scrubbed clean by the pristine sheen of Swiss finance. The due diligence mechanisms, know your customer, policies, and anti-money laundering laws exist more for international image management than for actual enforcement. In truth, the Swiss banking industry thrives precisely because it refuses to ask hard questions. Their silence is for sale, and their vaults remain open, as long as the money is big enough and the inquiry small enough. This is not incompetence, it is strategy. The Swiss have understood what Machiavelli himself taught. That power is preserved not through virtue, but through control of perception and the ruthless protection of advantage. Switzerland's so-called neutrality is not moral, it is profitable. It has weaponized discretion and turned silence into currency. It sells sanctuary not to the persecuted, but to the persecutors. Switzerland's genius lies not in its military strength or political influence, but in its mastery of invisible power. the kind that cannot be voted out, overthrown, or invaded. It is a fortress of privilege, protected by the very criminals whose fortunes it conceals. In the end, Switzerland may appear small on the map, but in the shadow world where real power is brokered, it is an empire without borders.